Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be playing against myself using the Zeon Rush deck or 1 Year War deck versus the green-white freedom-ish wing kind of mixture. The wing deck is basically 1-to-1 to the winner of the LA Regionals. I think it was LA Regionals. I'm not too sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't really read too much into that stuff, but I did see the deck list and stuff, and I wanted to try it out against my Zeon Rush deck and stuff like that to see how well I did. I did notice that I did play this deck in the locals before, and so far it's been crazy good. I actually won first place and stuff like that with it, which is insane. That's how good this deck is, which is crazy, right? And funny enough, I did have a variation of this deck before, but a lot of people at the time was taking out Death Sights, or not taking out this. They were taking out the bird mode in lieu of Death Sights or something like that. Or they took out bird mode and put Death Sights, right? Because of the ramp up and stuff. And I guess Death Sights included first strike and stuff like that. But because Death Sight, it's it takes a while for you to ramp up, or the fact that you have to wait till level 6 or higher to even play them can be a little bit of an issue there, and I can see why this person made the wing deck with bird mode. This deck only has 3 copies of bird mode, so not 4. Typically I've seen people play 4, but 3 makes more sense because you don't really want to see it early game in the hand. It's good for mid game, right? Because at least you'll be able to play bird mode and not use up your EX resource and and that good stuff, right? But yeah, so it looks like Zeon is going first. They lost the roll. So, and with Zeon deck, the mentality here is you want to play out as many low body units as possible in order to overwhelm your opponent with as many units as possible, right? So you don't really want to per se wait or hoard your units until a full-on attack, because especially with wing, since wing is a very heavy blocker deck, that's kind of Zeon's a little bit weakness there. If you can't get a lot of low-level units first on the get-go, or don't have Siege Ploy or Amuro to rest your opponent's blockers, it's going to be very hard late game, mid game to get over those blockers here. And yeah, so for wing 0, a good hand from what I've seen from my experience in general is, especially going up against the Unrush, is you want to have as many blockers as possible. You don't really want to see your high body units until late game or mid to late game, right? And luckily for this deck, I guess good or bad, I don't know, take it how you will. You can see in my hand right now, I did draw pretty well as Wart, and then Launcher Strike and stuff. So here I'm going to be playing Zwart. The idea here is to wait until they attack with Gun Tank, so my Zwart lives for another round, right? If I block his Zaku too, they're just going to trade, and that'd be kind of pointless, right? You always want to maximize your maximize your efficiency of the deck and stuff by not getting rid of units too easily unless you really need to, right? It's always okay to take hits here and there, because that's part of the strategy in order to come back from that, right? Because if you use up all your units, you block everything, you're just gonna lose pretty easily because you're gonna run out of units to play. And here's Zeon's gonna be playing a Char combo with Chozaku 2, the one that deploys a token if it's destroyed when paired. So now it has high maneuver with 5 attack, right? It's a +1 when it attacks as well. So can't really block that, so that's fine. If he attacks with Zaku 2, I'm just gonna let it go because, like I said, I want to save the Wart for later. Don't want him to immediately be destroyed. For the specific moment right here, where Zeon is trying to decide whether to attack or not and stuff like that, I kind of messed up a little bit because I should have not attacked with Gun Tank, because fully knowing that Zwart only it's a 3-2 body and Gun Tank is a 1-2, gun tank is not going to survive if he blocks right. So I should have like not attacked here and saved it for later, so I can like force him to use his ward on a different person, on a different unit, right? Because there are some instances where that's the most optimal play, but because I was too rash about it, I kind of destroyed my gun tank for no reason, and now he's able to use his ward to destroy one of my rested units, right? Or like my Charzaku 2 right there, so which sucks because then, you know, just there goes the unit, right? But in the mentality of Wing, I got rid of gun tank. Now I can use my Zwart to crash into his Charzaku 2 and destroy it to get rid of that high maneuver card, because high maneuver is such a bad time for Wing early game, because it can't really use its blockers to destroy, so it has to wait for your opponent to like use up their units. A big strategy with Zeon is you can just deploy as many units as you can until you have like 5 or 6 ish, and they only have like 3 blockers, and that way you can overwhelm them and stuff like that with them. But really depends on the situation here. Looks like Wing is going to be playing Striker Pack here and deploy Launcher Strike, which is it's like an Elfrith basically token, which is good. It's a 2/4 body, and it will easily survive because a lot of the Zaku or Zeon units are like 3. The good ones are like 3, and the other ones are like 2 or 1, right? So you're gonna really have to be very smart about who or what you attack. That the Zeon deck also have like 2 different ping cards. So basically 2 cards that deal 1 damage to rested units, which is the gun tank and the Anxia. I think that's how you say Anxia. I don't know. But ideally you would want to attack, they block, and the Anxia and to destroy the token, right? But in this situation, I don't think I have a gun tank or an Anxia in hand right now that I can play. So instead I went with Corsica base, basically to get that Tallgeese token out for an extra body, right? Since I can only attack with Zaku 2 and Charzaku 2 token, it doesn't seem optimal to attack right now, especially that now that they have a 2/4 body there. I guess technically I could attack with Charzaku 2 and he'll just let it go, but I doubt it. So I'm just gonna go full on attack next turn to see what they do, right? But the bad thing is now that you know, Wing is at like level 5 with 4 resources, they're able to like get out more blockers and stuff like that if they have it. So here, see, here's the thing with this deck is that it has Underground Desert Base, which is a 6 HP base, which is very, very hard to get over with, especially if you don't have any of your link units in hand or, you know, available to you with Zeon Rush, right? And then he has 2 blocker, so that just makes the situation even worse for Zeon, because now you have to worry about getting over those 2 blockers and trying to destroy that base, right? So right now Wing is doing pretty well. He has the situation under control. Even though Zeon has a Tallgeese that's 4/2, because you can easily block it, right? So Wing's objective here is for them to attack with their Tallgeese, so they can just block it and destroy it, because just trade, because you definitely want to get rid of their high body units, because if you don't, your bases are basically ineffective, right? So we'll see what they do here. Siege Ploy, pretty good. I play like 3 Siege Ploys in the deck, which for situations like this helps a lot to get over those blockers, right? So you don't have to worry about too many blockers here. So obviously, you know, I knew that if he tries to block with my Charzaku 2 token, it's not going to be worth it for them. So Wing is going to take the damage because they're waiting for, you know, Zeon to attack with the Tallgeese. So I'm gonna attack with low-level units to see if he'll like take the bait. And that's the beauty about this game, is that you gotta like bait your opponent out with this deck, because you gotta really play smart. Otherwise, you know, you don't know you might like lose, right? Because that's the biggest thing with Zeon Rush is you got to get that momentum and stuff like that. And if you don't play smartly, you're gonna lose pretty badly. And that's the learning curve of Zeon Rush. Like it's like easy and hard at the same time because you can play as many units as possible, and that's the idea of it. But the thing is, you also have to consider when to attack and if it's worth attacking, right? So, and you got to bait them a lot so they use up their their blockers and stuff. Because if you don't, well, there goes your strategy, right? So, but yeah, like here, now that I bait the blocker, the launcher strike blocker, I'm able to attack with Tallgeese. But Wing fortunately had like the what was it called? I forgot what it was called, that card. Had the -3 to reduce Tallgeese attack to 1 AP, right? So the Corsica, no Corsica base, but the Underground Desert base has 1 HP left, so which is pretty cool. It was gonna be destroyed, but luckily that saved it. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, 6 units on the field. It got that Rick Dom, which is bad news because that's a breach card, and the breach units are kind of troublesome, right? But so is that Tallgeese, so definitely got to focus on getting rid of that Tallgeese and that Rick Dom, right? And like, I don't really recall all the cards I play, so I'm kind of like rewatching this and like commentating over it. I'm like trying to figure out what I was thinking at that moment, right? So looks like I'm gonna go for bird mode here to ramp up with the EX resource. So that would put me at level 7 with 2 EX resources and 2 resources left. So I can get out a unit that's with the cost of 4. But since I don't want to use up all my EX resources and I want to defend myself a little bit, I remember playing this move, just using that extra EX resource in order to play Launcher Strike, which is a 3/4 blocker. It's a pretty good blocker. I also have Kira in hand, but it's not really... There's really no point in playing it because if I try to attack, I want to bait them out so I can like specifically, destroy units as they attack, so I can prepare myself for like next turn. I definitely worry about that Rick Dom, so that's why I played Launcher Strike. Since it's a 3/4, if Rick Dom attacks, specifically Launcher Strike is going to block it, so it will still live and destroy Rick Dom, right? So like right here, they're gonna play Dop, which is fine, it's just a 1. Don't really want to use up any of my blockers to it. I want to get rid of the high AP units first. So, and I'm sure the Zeon Rush player knows that, so they're going to attack with mid attack units, which looks like there's some hesitation here, which is understandable. I don't know if you want to save it for the token or not, which looks like not, which is good because you got your Kira, a pilot, so you have an extra Kira unit or pilot. Definitely want to get rid of the ones that can, the Charzaku 2, because that's I could be bad news if they draw into a Char pilot and then they have high maneuver, right? So definitely want to get rid of that. Then they're going to attack with Tallgeese, and obviously we're going to block it with the Launcher Strike token and just trade. So and then the only unit left is Rick Dom, which they could attack. If they don't attack, they will save that unit for later, but you also won't. You also like deal hefty damage to its Launcher Strike, so that's That's the biggest thing. Like, you could save it, but the thing is that regardless, you're gonna have to like, especially knowing that they got Akira in hand, they obviously are able to use it. So you definitely want to like reduce their units HP as much as you can, and then you have your ping units like the Angsha, which, as you saw, just completely destroyed the Launcher Strike Gundam, right? Which is pretty good. That was a solid move right there. And then, you know, play Charzaku 2 to set up the board for next turn. Now Wing only has its Elfrith left, so we'll see. Level 7, so I can play Freedom, right? But I guess we'll see. More important than anything is protecting my shield, so we'll see. Oh yeah, I forgot we have Sword Strike here, so you can play Sword Strike to bounce that token and then attack that DOP and take no damage, right? So that's getting rid of 2 in 1 for free, basically. Technically, I guess. So we're gonna attack DOP there and then bounce the token. And since it's only has 1 HP, it can be bounced, right? Because Strike Gundam says that when it's linked and it attacks, bounce a unit that has 2 HP or less, right? Then we're gonna protect ourselves with Underground Desert Base, right? Because it has 6 HP. Oh, and looks like one of the cards that was in the base, or not the base, one of the cards that was in the shield area that I put to hand was a Wing 0, which is crazy. Or was it Freedom? I forgot. It was either Wing 0 or Freedom that I put in hand, so. And then finished the turn off by attacking Corsica. So now Corsica's at 3 HP left. It'd be nice to have like a Wing Gundam here or something, so I can like immediately get rid of Corsica, but unfortunately, since I got rid of that early game, I don't have it anymore. Could play both Zaku 2 and Gundam. And I remember this specific turn. Unfortunately, there is no Amuro. It would have been pretty good if there was an Amuro, but unfortunately there isn't, because unlucky. It's pretty bad. Because you can't really do much here. You gotta get rid of the base. And they're probably gonna try to block charge Zaku 2. Since it's a 3-2. And because of that, might just attack with just 1 unit and then pass to attack for next turn, right? But they still have the Launcher Strike. Or not Launcher Strike, but the Sword Strike. So that's gonna be a huge issue because it like keeps bouncing stuff off. But yeah, looks like, yeah, saved that Char Zaku 2 for next turn. The only bad thing now is Sword Strike has a target for Zaku 2. Since it's a 1-2 unit, it's just gonna go back to the hand. So, and that's the biggest, like, one of the biggest anti-Zeon Rush cards is Sword Strike here, because it just controls your opponent's field and just bounces everything back, right? So we'll see here. They're gonna bounce back the the Zaku 2 and attack into Anxia, so I'm only gonna lose 1 AP or 1 HP. Yeah. I guess technically you could have bounced Char Zaku 2, right? Instead of Zaku 2. I don't know. So that must have been a misplay there, but I don't know. But yeah, here we're putting out a Freedom and then a Elfrith to defend our base. So now we have 3 blockers, which is gonna be pretty tough for Zeon to get over, right? Because at this point, since it's already late game, we're already at level 8, right? So it's gonna be very, very tough for Zeon to get over anything after level 5, because then, yeah, then Wing has a lot of advantage now. And now that Zeon pretty much used up almost all of their resources, there isn't much they can do. They only have like 1 card in hand too, so looks like they have a Charzaku 2 and a Zaku 2 unit. So looks like they're going to be playing both of them. And Zaku 2. And then pass turn. I feel like they should have attacked with Gundam, but since they have Freedom, they can easily block Gundam, and Freedom will still live, right? And if they attack with like Charzaku 2, they'll block with the Elfrith that has 2/4 and no damage to it. So it'll just Charzaku 2 will just die if it attacks. Same thing with Gundam, so they'll just lose your units. And there's 5, so technically Zeon still can survive this for sure. But the issue is that a lot of times during late game, you don't know if your opponent has, especially if it's a Wing player, you don't know if they have like a Link unit in hand or anything like that, right? So you're taking a risk here, hoping that it's either a base shows up, a siege deploy, or like that one command card that reduces by 3. For some reason I can't remember right now, but something to stall out your opponent, right? And here looks like Wing is being very, very aggressive, so something's up. Obviously, if they attack with Freedom and Elfrith and leave themselves defenseless, that means they know they're going to win, which is bad. So, yep, there's 4. Oh, yep, it's 4/4. So it's 8 cost. And they're going to go for Wing 0 here, which will destroy all of their units as well as your opponents. But since they already attack with all of their units, it doesn't really matter too much, and they still have 2 blockers on the field. So that's what makes Elfrith good, is the fact that they have 4 HP, right? So even if you drop a Wing 0 on it, it still survives 1. And then they're going to use up their Charzaku 2 effect, which when it's destroyed, you can add a Zeon unit or Neo Zeon to your hand, right? So they're adding Zaku 2 to hand. Looks like they have Amuro and Char in hand, as well as Zaku too, but unfortunately, yeah, this is it, because he has Hiro Yui in hand, and since it's a Link unit, he can attack, and yep, that's game. Yep, there it is, guys. It's such a hard deck to beat right now, so sometimes this deck can beat it, sometimes it can't, so regardless, hope you guys enjoyed this video and my commentary. If you don't like commentary, let me know. I just want to test the waters to see how this does. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe and like, and follow me on social media and stuff like that. But yeah, hope you guys have a great day. Peace.